Good evening, everybody. It's Monday, September 29th, 2025, at 6 p.m. And I'll call to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. This meeting is on Zoom as well in person. This meeting will be recorded and will be available on our town's YouTube page. Tonight we are having a combined meeting with the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, the COA, and the COA/Library Community Building Committee. So I will now kick it over to Margaret for the Finance Committee to, I think she's going to open and close that meeting, correct?
Hi, it being 6 o'clock, not having a quorum present, the Freetown Finance Committee meeting is hereby canceled.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. And Wayne for your meeting.
Good evening. I'm Wayne Jay, Vice Chair of the COA Library Building Committee. We do have a quorum here, so we will have our meeting. It is September 29th at 6:01. For recording purposes, if the committee members of our committee could, perhaps for roll call, just give your name.
Norman Landerville.
Wayne Jay.
Pat Demanch.
Paul Whitman.
Brenda Mata.
Alicia Bowden.
Jeff Amaral.
Nicole DeVignan.
Where people.
So we have a very good showing here. We have 4 items on the agenda tonight. First being, if we can go straight to it, is an update of the OPM. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me without this microphone? In the process of the combined COA Library Building Committee, and I suspect, Mark, you are presenting that update?
I am, yes.
Please.
How did you do this? It's gone. Oh, there it is.
Good evening. I've met many of you here in the room. Mark Champagne, I'm with P3, who is your owner's project manager for this project. And what we need to present this evening is some information so that we can get some guidance as to our direction forward to ultimately design and build a successful project. So we distributed some information, shared it with the town. I'm not sure if everyone has seen it yet, but we've got some choices to make. And before we go too far down the road of design, we need to establish a direction. So in 2023, when the library program was defined by the consultant group, it prescribed a building, a library building of 14,000 square feet. I want to speak in flat numbers, right? In 14,000 square feet for a library. That is their programmatic view. The library folks here applied for and received a grant from the MBLC to pursue the design through about a schematic design phase to get an estimate for what the new building would cost to build. Currently, the town is contracted with the designer for a fee of $160,000 to get to that stage. With the grant contract, the design firm is bound to design the building according to the program. There's very little deviation that we can take. So if we were, instance, say it's a 14,000 square foot building.
I didn't do anything, I just got here.
By the program needs, and let's say we said, well, we're going to take that and we're going to knock it down to 10,000 square feet. We would be out of compliance with the grant, and the town would have to give the money back, or we would have to make the design correct, one or the other. So there's 2 paths. One is to continue down the path that we are currently on, which is to design the combined building with the 14,000 square foot library and a 7,000 square foot council on aging facility. There will be some shared space between them, conference space and whatnot. The out-of-pocket to use the grant program to the town for that option number 1 is just under $14 million. The project cost is about $22.8 million. So the net to the town would be 14 million or so. The rest of it is funded by the grant. Alternatively, we could design a 7,000 square foot library along with a 7,000 square foot council on aging facility. The two would be side by side with some common and shared space in between them. The out-of-pocket cost to the town for that option is, we estimate, about $14.9 million. That would be without any reimbursement from the grant program. The one twist to this is the MBTA zoning, as you all know, so 3A. We have the design grant. We could continue on with designing the project to the grant. If we then find that 3A does not pass, if it's voted on again, then as it stands today, the town would not be eligible to receive the construction grant. And then you would look to redesign the facility into something that the town could afford with its own cash. So you would be back to that 7,000 and 7,000 square foot facility. Those are the numbers. So my goal here is to establish a direction forward. We don't want the designer to continue down a path where he has to, we don't want him to have to go through much redundancy in his work. We don't want to incur any additional charges from the design firm. So, and again, these dollar figures I'm giving you tonight are certainly just order of magnitude numbers. They've not been estimated by a professional estimator. They're not based on a specific design. They are based on the best opinion of the folks in our office at P3 and the folks at Johnson Rogers, your designer on the project. And that's where we're at. That's the quandary that we have right now. And that's why we're here to present this issue versus having a design to review at this point. You are not the only town that's in this predicament, we'll say. We actually have two others as well. And it's up to each town to establish what they want to move forward for a path. I will say one other thing. If we design to the grant, bring a successful design to them, we keep the design grant in-house, use that to fund the design contract. If we have to redesign to scale the project back to something that the town is able to pay for on its own, the upcharge for the additional design work would be in the vicinity of an additional $100,000. That's not accounted for in these figures. You got a question?
Perhaps you can put it back up on your two estimate sheets. We're talking $14,000 square foot perhaps for the library and roughly $7,000 for the COA, $21,000. But I believe that first column, that doesn't include the shared space. If I'm looking at this correctly, it's more like 24,000 square feet.
There's all told is 24,000 square feet. And again, so the program and the design is not exactly pinned down yet because we really have not put pen to paper to create the space on paper that's enough for anyone to really take a look at and swallow what we're proposing, or the design team's proposing. There is meeting and community space built into the 14,000 square foot library square footage. The shared space is 2,600 square feet. Our anticipation would be that that would be used by both entities, and that the meeting space that's in the library program could dovetail into some COA programs as well, depending on need and the library schedule. But again, those are all things that we are yet to be determined. We put these together as our best guess of how we can bring this together.
Just to understand the bottom line price tag of 13,700,000. So is it a 24,000 square foot facility, or is it a 21,000 square foot?
It would be a 24,000 square foot facility. Yep. Versus a combined 14,000 square foot facility on option 2.
Because in the blue section, you have 7,000 and 7,000 and 0 in the shared space.
Correct.
So the shared space is incorporated in that 7,000?
Yes. Yeah, and that space we would probably, what we would try to do is design that space so that it's between the two spaces, so it could be shared either way. And the shared space is going to be flex space as well. You know, we plan on having movable partitions. It can be a larger room open for larger gatherings, meetings and such. You know, something that could house this meeting here tonight, actually. Or could be divided into 2 or 3 sections for programmatic needs for either the library or the COA. So we try to make those spaces as versatile as possible. So the second throng, that I'm sure the Finance Committee and Select Board are eager to know, this is a reimbursable grant. So if the tenor is to move forward with the program as submitted, with the 14,000 square foot library, the shared space, and the COA, and we do proceed with option 1, the grant reimbursements come this way. When you're accepted into the grant, it's 20%. You get 20% of your grant amount, which you'll see is $9 million, give or take. The second 20% comes when construction drawings are complete. You get the second 20% installment. We can time that so that you may get one in, the first one may come in April, and maybe the next one comes in August. The catch is, it's one reimbursement per fiscal year. So you have an opportunity to time it with the first 2 reimbursement phases to kind of bridge that fiscal year gap. So you can put one towards the end of a fiscal year, one in the beginning of the next fiscal year. What has to float, you get 20% when you pull your building permit, which is the project's fully designed, it's been bid, it's been awarded. The contractor applies for the building permit. Once he receives that building permit, you could submit for your next 20%. That 20%, however, is not sent back to the town until we click by another fiscal year. The fourth 20% comes when you ultimately get a certificate of occupancy on the building, which means the building is complete, all the systems are inspected and approved by the town officials, by the NBLC, and all parties involved, and the building is complete and ready for occupancy and use by the town. And the fifth 20% reimbursable comes 1 year after, so the next year is how they do it. So the funds for the entire project have to be appropriated. We can cash flow this, certainly, to present to you. We haven't gone to that extent yet. We can cash flow this so you don't have to borrow the entirety of the delta, but there would be some borrowing at that point. Probably to get you through your final 60% of the grant, which would be, about half of it. Call it about half, so it'd be about $5 million. That would actually have to be borrowed, but could be paid down as the reimbursements come in. Questions?
With the state's fiscal condition the way it is and what's happening in Washington, is it possible that the money won't be there when we need it?
Anything's possible.
Has it ever happened that they haven't paid?
Not that I know of. If the grant's established, it's very difficult for them to do a clawback of grant funds. I will say that I experienced this firsthand with ESSER funds, which were ARPA funds used for schools. There are districts that have committed construction contracts. I was with one of them. It was a clawback. Massachusetts is still continuing to reimburse the contract payments for projects that were already under construction. But it's a court fight at this point. So no one knows. But it is a possibility that it would get clawed back. Successfully or not, who knows? Gentlemen, anything?
Well, the clawback part is something that you don't really think about until you realize it's a $22 million project, right, without the
Correct.
grant. So that does give me some chills, I'm not gonna lie. Let me think about that. Wayne, do you have a question?
Well, 22 million, if I could just comment on that, only if the grant were to come through, and if we knew the grant was not realistic, the added cost is about 100 grand to redesign.
Correct.
If today we were to hire you separately to do that project, how much would that design cost roughly? Because I just wonder, like, the difference between the two.
So the architectural line on our chart here has the design fee in its entirety for option 1 at $1.6 million. Option 2 would be $1 million.
So regardless, at the end of the day, whatever option we take, even if we had to change, even if we went with option 1 and switched over to option 2, there's still a sizable gain that we've had through this process.
There is, and in both bottom line numbers, we've included everything, all the soft costs of the building. It's our fee, the architectural fee, testing through construction, construction oversight from our office, a clerk of the works on site full-time, the FF&E, which is furnitures, fixtures, and equipment, technology, any technology that would be needed, utility work, site work, it's all in that number. It's a choice, again. So just to be clear, I want to make sure I spoke this clearly so everybody gets it, is that right now with the grant, we would design to the program. If we get there, you're going to have to write the check back to the state for the grant that you got for the design, and you're going to owe the designer $160,000 to get to the point that he's contracted to right now. So there's that cost. So yeah, it's a fork in the road. I know it's a very difficult choice. It's a lot of information to swallow. It's probably not what a lot of folks expected to hear, but I've sat in meetings with the NBLC and had extensive conversations that we thought were going to go well. And I mean, they followed up with an email, point by point by point, and you cannot deviate. I believe they said that in the conversation, we could possibly, if we could justify a 10% square footage deviation and not affect any of the programs, that might be okay with them. They might approve that, but then again, it's open to their interpretation.
Yeah, so I think, like, realistically, from what we've seen thus far, so the town has not seemed any willingness to actually vote in the 3A changes, right? Which is unfortunate, but that's just the situation we're in. So that being said, I still think that there's a chance that, and from what I've been reading recently, is that they might just force it down our throats anyways, and they're going to override all of our local bylaws and zoning laws to fit in compliance with 3A.
That's what we've heard, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it seems like. So what I'm curious about is what happens if we don't vote it in, but they force us to do it? Are they still going to claw back the grant, do we think? Or, I mean, I know you can't make any promises there, but.
it's tough to move forward and say with any certainty that, yes, that they would, say the funds are available, the grant is there, would they try to slap municipalities on the wrist that, they had to force to comply with their 3A rule?
I guess the other issue too would be is if we weren't in compliance and there was the next person on the list below us, would they then award them the grant and then the money that was allocated for us is now in,
Yes,
you know,
that's probably
another
what
town's
that's
hands?
probably
So
what would happen.
Even if we were able to get it back, it's not going to because they've reallocated the funds. So,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that could happen,
Yeah.
but I think what we have to do is think about, this is just my personal opinion, is if I were Freetown, and I've said this to other towns, I'd cut it. I'd go option 2. I would do it on our own, and that's the direction I would take.
well, the reason, what makes me say that I agree with that is there's a lot of folks in this room who've been waiting a long time for a building, right? From all parties. So if we go with option 1 and then it gets shot down again, we're gonna be that much further behind again. So I think of that because nothing in this world seems to happen fast. But at the same time, all of a sudden it passes and then we're gonna be like, we can't believe we didn't do it. So-
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like, if you just look at the numbers, like, yeah, getting a lot more building for a cheaper price, if we didn't know all the other factors here, it's a no-brainer, right? Like,
Absolutely.
But then, does this take into consideration, I was looking for operation costs?
This does not.
Okay.
We're working on that now. We've had a couple of meetings where Deb's asked, it's one of the first things she asked us about, and we're working on putting that together.
Because we know from this building.
Yeah.
I think it's very expensive to run this building, right? And a lot more expensive than I think was originally budgeted, or maybe wasn't budgeted at all, to be honest with you, in some situations. And so, that's just another thing. With the option 2, we are gonna have lower just operation costs.
Oh, you absolutely have lower operation costs. And the thing about operation costs, first, utility costs for the building. I've been through several of these programs across different municipalities across the state that had implemented ESCO programs. It was a lease program with an energy contractor. They would come in and make a lot of these promises about energy usage. And it was always, you're always clear to say, you measure a building's cost by not dollars and cents, it's by energy use. That's how we do it. Give you a usage of energy, heating, electric, which now all the heating is electric, as mandated by the state. And then extrapolate what your cost would be based on what your rate is, and rates vary.
Yeah. For this building, we looked at that, for this building, for a cost comparison. So you take this building, was built just a few short years ago. It's got all the technology in it, heating, cooling, landscaping, cleaning. We average about $150,000 to $175,000 a year for all those costs, right? About $60,000 for electricity, $36,000 for cleaning and landscaping, then plus heating, and whatever breaks, we own. So if we're doubling the size of that building in option 1, there's your cost, right? Option 2, about the same. So if for comparison-wise, Town Hall is about 5,000 square feet, so a little bit bigger than that as far as monthly costs for the extra 7,000 square feet that we're talking about.
May I ask a quick question? How many square feet is this building?
About 12,000.
About 12,000.
Yeah, a little bit more, but give or take.
What is the selectmen's plan for a town meeting to present the 3A position again?
Right, yeah, great question. I think we have to keep, I think, trying. I think, like, we've presented all the facts. I think we've done especially in this last go-around, we did a much better job of kind of articulating what the downsides of us not being in compliance are. It all seems to not work, right? But by us not at least scheduling the meeting and getting on the agenda, then that puts us like further outside of compliance.
If we really believed that the state is going to force us to do it anyway, and they're going to put the zone wherever they want to put the zone,
Right.
if that's presented forcefully,
I can speak to that.
the people might go for it.
Yeah, so Paul, I can speak to that. Recently, we have a joint meeting, seems like every so often, every couple of weeks to a month, between myself, the planning board, the chair, the planner, our town administrator, as well as the state in correspondence, where discussions right now, discussing where 3A could fit. Could we break it up? We're looking at all the options. But we have received notice from the state stating, hey, you have a deadline of, I think, December 25th to be ready for January for the compliance date to have a vote, right? We're not there yet. We don't know what it looks like, because in that letter, it does state what levels of compliance that they can impose on us. Some is financial, some is things like this, like grants and other things. So is the threat real? Yes. Are we there yet? No. I think we have some couple good ideas, and then we, of course, bring it out to you, the residents, to take it in and vote on it yourselves, and we will do whatever is voted on, right? That's our stake in the game, getting what you want. What does that mean? We don't know yet. It could mean we voted in, we voted out. I don't know. It's on you. We're going to do our best to present it, give you all the information, and then take it from there.
And just Selectman Lopes just did a great job of explaining everything. The one thing I will add is originally this was going to come back to vote in December, and we felt like we weren't going to be ready for that time frame, because the state was really saying that we had till the end of the year to come into compliance, right? So for us to rush a meeting to get it in front of the voters and not have things the way they should be, then we didn't feel right, so it's been pushed off. But we don't have an exact date yet, but it'll be after the calendar year change.
Going to present options, and more than one option?
They want every option available, and they may still say that's not enough, and they'll impose whatever options they want.
And what he's speaking of is the possibility of breaking up the zoning too, right? So it could be, in certain pieces, and there's certain parts of compliance and whatever,
So would you present that to the town, that more than one option, have the town vote on different options?
That's what we're looking at now.
Okay.
So the current line of thinking for the 3A is, it was an overwhelming no on the Asona side of town, right? Because of the density of it all, right? And we want 750 units, 3 stories tall. So the train of thought is, do we divide it between both sides of town, right? Do we incorporate and try to do senior housing, things like that, right? I know the church came in saying, hey, we have land, we tried this 20 years ago, is this an option? So we're looking at all those things to make sure it's what we want as Freetown, right? What does that look like yet? I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of it and in a sense jinx it, knock on wood. But at the same time, we are working at it. And quite frankly, every option is not a great option. No matter what we do, how we do it, not everyone's going to love it. And that's just the facts, right? And then at the end of the day, the state's going to say yes or no, and then they're going to come back and say, well, thank you for that information. We're going to take that, modify it, stamp it, this is a go. And we have very little say. And if we want to fight it, that's our decision after the fact.
Yeah.
So.
As a member of this committee from day one, prior to it being established as a joint committee, a joint project, one of the common themes was it should be about equality. And between the COA and the libraries, from a space standpoint, we always seem to have supported kind of equal-sized needs. And then a lot of discussion came up with the grant, and a 14,000 square foot building has been bounced around for several years. And I, for one, was not of the mindset that we needed something that large in this town. However, and, a comment was made about, or the finances and economically. So if we look at it, let's assume that a $9 million grant could be coming our way. What's the bottom line? We end up with a 24,000 square foot building at a $1.2 million less cost than what we would get a 14,000 square foot building for. We'd get 10,000 square feet of usable space in this town. Let's call it a library. However, I do see in the shared space, there's an auditorium.
Yes.
That qualifies as part of the library. And maybe it's a larger auditorium, or maybe it's more multi-purpose rooms that perhaps become more usable in this town. I've always said, why would we, once we build this large building, then we've got to pay for the heat, the operating costs. But at $9 million, That's like 90 years of operating costs that gets covered.
Yeah, I hear you.
$9 million is a lot of money, and one of the selectmen, I think, said it, it's a no-brainer. If 3A was not an issue, it wasn't on the table, it would be a no-brainer.
So the
We
risk
would
is-
probably be here, I'm sorry, we would probably be here with an initial presentation of a new 14,000 square foot library.
Yep.
That's
So the
where we
risk
would be.
is perhaps a little delay, and we're used to delay,
Hmm.
but maybe added cost of 100,000, whatever, 150, if we have to go back to the drawing board. And if we have to go back to the drawing board, what might you estimate the time delay would be?
That's
6
exactly
months?
that's my question would be too.
So as it stands right now, we've kind of taxed the designer with saying, all right, our deadline for the grant, the design grant, is December. Can you still meet that deadline if that's the direction we get from the town? He said, it's tight, but we can do it. He knew we had this meeting here tonight. I understand there may be more discussion that has to happen. I don't walk out of here with a direction tonight, but we would need one probably within the next week or so to give him his marching orders to see what direction he needs to go. Currently, to get through schematic design, he's contracted for $160,000. You would be, it's included in the option 2 design cost. So those would be payments you would make directly to him instead of using the grant funds. The risk on the design side is we design to the program, they would pay him, but your cost out of pocket would be about $100,000 to redesign. So either way, if we went option 2, I'd say that we would have to be a little bit more thorough as we're minimizing one of the buildings, and we want to try to build on that shared space concept. We imagine at that point, it would be more important to have community and committee input as to how that space were to morph out. I say, if we needed a schematic design for option 2, I would say we'd be ready for that with a schematic design and an estimate in March. I think that's fair to say is March. Could be sooner, but I wouldn't want to commit.
Mark, as we contemplate that, I got a question. Let's say we go with option 1, right? And we allocate space for, let's say, this massive space, the auditorium, we use it for, let's say, town meeting down the road, right? Which sounds like it's going to be big enough for that, which would be great, right? Let's face that. That'd be fantastic instead of going to Lakeville. How long can we, because at the end of the day, the Board of Selectmen will decide what's what called, right? It could be a library, but 10 years from now, we call it Taj Mahal, right? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the Board of Selectmen with committees will change as needed, right? How long after the fact, right? You said a year for the last 60%, right? Do we have to wait a year before we do any changes to the library as far as what we call it, what we put on file from the MLBC, or is that something
That's a
that?
question I need to research a little further. I don't want to even give you my opinion on that. I don't know if it would be a percentage, perhaps, that you might have to give back. I don't see them being in a position to recall the entire grant.
Okay.
But again, that's just my opinion. I need to get a
But it's a
hard
possibility.
answer.
It's a possibility, right? At the end of the day, it could be a possibility.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. Okay.
Or the other thing, there could be just a time limit on it as well.
Sure.
Certain amount of time.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's not what we're saying we're doing. That's just, again, thinking long-term down the road is if we do get the grant, then we need to change it for something else down the road. We don't want to be penalized for something that the town needs versus what the grant needs, right? That makes sense?
Well, we've always called it a COA library community
Right.
building.
Yep.
Amy Cypher, the library trustee chair. Yeah, I was thinking something similar, that it really, it's all, the library is a town structure.
Right.
So if we have an auditorium, I mean, the MBLC is not going to come in and say, was this a book talk only? Like, it's about the community, it's about the essence of that. And I share some of the views here that this might be the most concrete example for the community to see that we will get more if we comply, because we're going to be forced to comply anyway. So if we're non-compliant as of January 1, because we're not able to have a meeting before then, this will potentially disappear anyway, because it'll be the new year of compliance. But also, that's a really hard sales pitch to say to the town, listen, it's going to cost us more money to do this smaller and by ourselves. And I get the operating cost component, but that structure wouldn't be like this one in the sense that this is a 24-hour staffed structure, constantly operational. Those have the COA and the library both have very set hours. and certain things don't run at this, the same pace that our emergency services do. So I just think it's a really good example to give the town. We've been talking about this all along for months, like what could we give the town to help them understand that it's coming for us anyway? Do we want to just take the money that we spent 2 decades earning, because we've earned it so hard, and just wait the extra 6 months? It seems like a fair thing. We've already waited, say, 20 years for this grant, so 6 more months.
Yeah.
So if I could just clarify just one thing. So the shared space component, COA library, is new to their program, to have them allow that. And the caveat as to whether the shared space is grant eligible is who controls the space. It's got to be reasonable. You probably couldn't put a 12,000 square foot conference arena on the library and say, we're going to get reimbursed for this because this is the library's 12,000 square foot room, but within reason. So that's why the way that it's placed and the way that the space is controlled has to do with the grant eligibility of that portion of the building.
You said that site work was in, I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay. That's okay, go ahead.
You said that site work was included in your estimates,
Yes.
your estimated estimates.
Yes, estimated
Does
estimates.
that mean somebody has looked at the site and believes that it can be done, that the building can be put there?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. We've got the survey from the current owner now. He shared that with us, and we shared that with the design team, and that's what we've been working with. Ultimately, we would have to do some geotechnical investigation, a little bit more so than they've done, and we'd have to do a little bit more fine detail of a survey on our own. But we got enough information from them to get through our first play at this, which gets you through the grant without having to do any extra work on the property.
With the purchase of land, we've already kind of talked about doing some of those
Yes.
investigational groundwork because of issues that happened on this facility.
Yeah, and I was going to have a conversation with Deb or whomever that possibly, I know that there was a separate appropriation, I think, for that, so that could maybe take a little pressure off of this as well. If we could work with whomever to get those survey items and geotechnical study items that we would need for the project included in whatever else it is that you're going to do on the property, then that would be great.
Yeah, I would speak with Deb because we do have, we have engineers involved on that facility
Yep.
already currently. So I would talk with her about that.
Yes.
Brenda, I believe you had a question?
Brenda Mata. I hear what you're saying, Wayne. It just makes me very nervous. We've been at the town meetings, we see what the culture of is a lot of the people in this town, and they are not for that, passing the 3A. Makes me very nervous that we move forward with the option 1, designing this 24,000 square foot building, and it's all for naught, because it only seems realistic to me that we're gonna go back to option 2. I just don't see us being able to do the option 1, and I feel like it's wasting a lot of time, and it also seems to me, do we need a 24,000 square foot building? I personally don't think we do, and I worry about the operating costs, but I do understand, point well taken, that, we're not a 24, 7-day-a-week operation, that it's a limited amount of time, but it just seems fiscally not responsible for us to go with a building that big and having to perpetuate the cost of that for however long. I'd love to see a bigger building. I just don't think it's fiscally responsible. That's my opinion.
I flipped my opinion like 6 times during this meeting.
Well, let's get some numbers, right? So one of the things we did for this meeting, and as well as taking a look at because at the end of the day, when we discuss it as a committee, one of the things we all said, we don't want to raise taxes, right? We don't want to borrow for this building and increase taxes, and we wanted to pay for our own. So Matt, our accountant back there, say hi, Matt. We kind of looked at the numbers, right, and to make sure what do we have in a sense in the bank, and what can we afford without having to raise taxes. And option 2 is, I believe, within the affordable landscape. Correct, Matt? As far as what we can and can't afford without raising taxes.
Yeah, I actually think technically they both are.
Okay, perfect. So we can afford this building, one or the other. Just what do we want to do? Because operating costs are, if you take the 150,000 average, 300,000, let's say, for that building, plus this building. Luckily, by the time that building gets started, this building would be paid off, which is nice, right? Something to consider and think about. But it is a financial burden. It is, no matter how we look at it, there's still money being spent on this building, right? Again, 40 years in the making, so, yeah, Paul?
Do we save money not having the town meeting in Lakeville? Do we say, if we could have the town meeting in our own building, do we save money?
I don't
No,
think
we
so.
don't, we don't pay for the
I don't
facility.
think we paid for it, yeah.
No, it's just, it'd be in our own town. You know, it's, plus other meetings as well. You can do the elections there, gatherings and things of that nature. Emergency shelter, it'd be bigger for what we use it now. So there's plenty of reasons to have extra room. But at the end of the day, it does cost money. And that's why the committee's here to really start thinking about that. It's like, how do we want to do this? Because at the end of the day, we have to present whatever option we have to the town, right? So far, we've gotten the land, right? So far, everything's going well as far as with engineering and everything else. We haven't got any bad news to date, right? So we're moving forward. But, you know, what does everyone want to do?
When I started with working with Nicole on the grant, we were doing a lot of looking at other libraries local. And when I talk to people in town, I use the reference point of Lakeville's library, which everyone goes to avoid our libraries. And that's 16,000 square feet. And to me, 16 on paper sounds massive. But then you go in their library and you're like, man, they've used every nook and cranny of that space. And for residents who are using that right now, they're like leaving out of town to go do that, giving that reference point has impacted, I think, a lot of people's understanding. So even if we were like, you know, some of that would be just like they have a community room and different spaces to use, we would decide how that looks for us.
My son went there today.
Yeah, it's a common spot to go.
Yeah. And that's something I do see in this, let's say everything moves forward, we have a building, no matter what's designed, let's say there's a building in place years from now, I do see our local Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, I do see the library being used for the things that we use other towns for, right, here in our own local town. And I know it's a scary number, but at the end of the day, the town's in that position that we can't afford both, you know, it's without raising taxes. So I'm torn. Like Selectman Matthews, I've gone back and forth, I think, 10 times just from this afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
I think Pat has something to say.
Yes,
Well, I think we should plan for the future, obviously. And if this 3A has to come in here, it's going to bring in a massive amount of people.
Yeah.
So a 7,000 square foot building for each area may not be large enough to accommodate the extra population that we're going to get. And we want this building to actually serve the community for over 30 years. So, I mean, I understand the risk, but I also think that if we don't do it, and we're saving the town $1 million by option one, and we get everything, we're better off for it.
I hear you.
Right now, currently, you know, what we were just talking about is something, right, where the people going to other towns, and Rebecca, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out back there, but, you know, she's done a good job of pulling people, and we got about 6,000 square feet of space over at the COA now, I think is what I was told. I think that's what I was told with the new, space, when I asked. So, don't quote me on that, but when I asked, it was about 6,000 square feet, and, you know, you're utilizing all that space, so that gives people an idea. It's just trying to call it a reference point, but as you do grow, different programs and stuff into, you know, space, and, you know, you need more space today than you did, you know, a couple of years ago when you walked through the door.
40 years ago, we made a bad decision to go it alone and build a COA and a police station by using local people and doing it on the cheap. It was a mistake 40 years ago. It's certainly, we know it's a mistake now. And we're suffering for it. I think we should plan for the future and go and do the best that we can for the town.
Okay. So just, we do have a agenda item here for the update on the grant.
So, Mark, is that item 2, were you also covering that? Or is there any other comments on the grant?
There's really not an update on my end from the grant, only in that we're currently in a holding pattern right now with giving the designer a direction to pursue. so that we can stay in compliance with the grant and utilize those funds, or we're going to step outside that compliance and give him marching orders in that direction, which would be working towards option 2.
So before we move on to item 3, which is actually for the selectmen to vote on a proposed budget, I think the discussion we've been having is extremely important and good feedback for the selectmen. Is there anyone else that wants to comment on, from the COA Library Committee? I have one other question. Anyone else? So the library had the luxury of a matrix to help them design square footage based on collection size, et cetera. And COA doesn't have that. This committee, and I'm just looking back at the charge the selectmen gave this committee, and one excerpt is, this committee is going to work collaboratively with the project manager and the architect to develop the final design of the building. And although it says final design, thus far, at present, we've not had that involvement. So I know that there's some great feedback from our director and very reliable, but going forward, this committee needs to be, I believe, more directly involved.
Well, I will say, there really has not been at this point any design work done for us to bring you in on.
We have a square footage.
We have a square footage that's based on the paperwork that we have from the library study, as far as the library side is concerned. Now, so that's
COA.
So COA was based on a meeting we had with COA, looked at the existing square footage, and we felt that, $7,000 within the budget constraints we were given, that the 7,000 square foot dedicated COA space with the addition of flex space in the library for other programs, other space for them to use, would be sufficient for her needs. She does have 6,000 square feet today. It's very disheveled. It's really not functional. It's not, it doesn't flow well. It's not thought out well. It's just very fragmented within the building. So I do understand what you're saying, and we just haven't been able to get to the point. And when we put this meeting together, was about, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when Deb and I spoke about having this meeting, because we thought that it was important before we move forward with pen to paper, which then starts to cost money on the design side, that we have a direction to move. Once we have a direction to move, we have had a program meeting with Nicole. We've had a program meeting with COA. So we have an idea how we want to try to lay this out to start with. And then once that's done, we'll come to the committees with at least 2, if not 4, different layout options to start having that discussion about how to flex the space to meet everyone's needs.
We're even giving the existing COA space, and the pods did a tremendous job of adding space, but even the pods are inadequate. Yoga exceeds that space. They go into the vestibule. Set up tables, it's a maximum of 80 people in the pod space, and that's one of the larger multi-function rooms, if you would. 1,100 square feet, I think.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have.
It was
It's one of those, it's not a great problem, but it's one of those problems, like, we built it and they came, and now we know we need bigger, right? So that's, sorry, Wayne, it's just, I'm happy that people are coming in and using the space that we put there now, which speaks well to the need for this library and Council of Aging building, so.
And to just throw it out there, to be said, and people talk about utilization of the new buildings. We've been involved in several COA projects, several library projects, and a lot of folks will say, that's a big library. You're proposing a very large library. You're proposing a very large space for COA to operate in. And the truth is, when you build it according to the program, the buildings are utilized. We see enrollment and participation in programs and COAs bump in some towns, 300% increase in utilization. And some of them are big. We're working on one right now that's going to be about 24,000 square feet, just a COA. And they're working out of currently about a 4,500 square foot space that's kind of annexed off of another building. It's really not. But they've been working at that for getting a new COA for 10, 12 years. So it's a long road. Yes, sir.
Johnson Roberts designed this Townsend building with a joint COA library with some shared space in the middle. Do you know what the square footage was of the library and COA in that?
Which one was that?
Townsend.
No, I don't. Off the top, I don't know what that was, that square footage. I can find that out, though.
This is what they showed us there. I visited that building, but they show it in their brochure. We're just wondering what the breakdown in size was between the COA side and the library side.
I can find that out, certainly find that out. And again, that's a lot of the information that we'll get into. We try to design the projects that fit Freetown, for Freetown. We do bring in some comparatives, and that's some of the tools that we use to configure what this building would be. And again, we haven't gotten to that point in this process yet. Yes, sir.
23,500 square feet for
Total?
Townsend combined.
Combined. I'll have to get what that breakdown is.
15,000 square feet for the library, 3,000 for the senior center, 5,500 for a meeting room.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so if everyone has, everyone spoke that would like to, I think I'm ready to call for a vote here on our direction.
Can I just
Yep.
thank Mark, and you're all set then?
Yeah,
We're good on.
if there's any other questions, I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not running away.
I'll call the vote, and then you guys can close your meeting, right? And we'll see how this goes. Yep.
I'm curious to know how they vote. As far as
Are they vote? I think it's only for us to vote on.
Right, I'm just curious to see what their opinion is as far as the committee.
It seems like a
I
mix,
think
right?
you've heard a mixed opinion from members.
Why don't we take a vote across the numbers? Just-
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what you folks think. You're in the committee.
So
Well, the entire committee's not here.
Right, this vote doesn't count in a sense other than just giving us your feedback as far as what you're thinking at this moment.
So we know option one then is with the grant, option two is without. It's kind
Yeah.
of-
And to get the size building that you just said, 24,000 square feet, you'd have to go with option one with the grant in order to get that square footage to make it work. And roll the dice and hopefully everything goes smooth. So I vote for the larger building at this point,
So you're option one,
option one.
I'm option one.
Option one.
Option one.
Option two.
Option two.
Excuse me. That's 4-2 at the moment. Option one. Option one, 5-2. You separate, echo.
I mean, option one.
6-2, that's it for members? Yes. Jeffson?
You voted?
6-2, option one.
Perfect. Yeah, and so my view here is that I think realistically, unfortunately, we might end up at option two based on the current information, but I'm not ready to give up on option one yet. So I think we still move forward with it. I think if we're trying to build a building for 30 years, right, at least, I think that if we unfortunately do get delayed by a couple months because of a redesign to go with, what, the option two, I think I'm okay with living with that. It's not great, but that's okay. So for those reasons, I'm going to entertain a motion to move forward with option one. Do I have a motion?
I'm torn, man, I really am. I was like, almost like, do I want to hold the vote and think about it till the next time? It's a big decision, it really is. I guess the part that gets me is I sit here and I think about it and I say, us holding on this vote right now just continues to delay it.
The other part too, I'll just say is that, okay, so say we move forward with option one, at least design is starting. There's going to be and if we have to change that to go to option two, it's not gonna be all thrown out, right? We're at least getting the ball rolling. And, yes, we're gonna have to pay for that out of pocket, I understand that. But at least we're moving forward with our best possible options, and then we can deviate from that with the change cost, understood, to go with option two if we do not, if we lose the grant.
Right. And keep in mind also, this grant process was voted in at town meeting, right? To go for the grant to get us to this stage today. So it is still in line with the residents voted for 2 cycles back, right? So here we are today with the grant option. Now, there's some juggling to do with the 3A, that's for sure, that's certain. I am on that meeting maker, and there's some good options being out there. Now, there's a chance that the state comes in and says, you're out, and there's a chance the state comes in, well, you're still in compliance. They've already said they won't claw back the design phase, which is nice, right? So that's assured, right? We have that email, I'm gonna hold on to that, it's gonna be on the wall forever, right? However, is there a period that we might be held up because of the 3A discussion? That is a possibility. Then, per the state, they're gonna make us do it anyways down the road, so at some point, I'm sure that if we're in the game, it's like playing the lottery, like Powerball. You can't win unless you play, right? But I'm also a cheap guy. I'm very fiscally conservative, so I understand your heartburn on this, because it's a lot of money. But ultimately, the residents, we're still following what they want, is moving forward with the next phase. What?
So I think Deb
your decision.
Deb is online and has a comment. Deb, you there?
Your decision too, you have a
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I am here. I don't necessarily have a comment. I think the risk is, we move forward with the grant, and the risk is $100,000 in a few months' time. I think that's an okay risk to take for the $9 million grant. But just so you know, you didn't second the motion, so just.
Yeah, I know.
No, we're discussing.
We're mid
discussion.
All right, thanks, Deb. Trying to keep us out of trouble here. All right.
Thank you.
So my motion is there for, or will someone make the motion for option 1?
Motion made.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, that's tough. And then the last step here is, we have next steps of the combined COA library building, so I think, Deb, you're back there. What are we looking for actual next steps? Is there anything specific we need to do, or just talk
I
about
think
it?
you should set the perimeter for the budget, right? And you might want to get a little more information from Matt. I know he's prepared. I think he can tell you what we can afford, or at least with the information we have today, what the town can afford realistically without raising taxes. And I think that my number has been around 15 million, but he can confirm that. And I just think that might be, with what's going on today, I'd like the selectmen to solidify that's the budget, or that will be not to exceed 15 million. At least that gives everybody the perimeters and the directions. And I'm not sure that that's the number. I'm going to ask Matt to confirm the number based on what information we have available to us today, just to keep everybody sort of in line. I mean, one of the things I was listening to was the COA thinking, maybe they need more space. I think, if we're looking at, hey, we got 15 million, and with the grant we're going to spend 13. Do we need 300 more square feet for the COA, and is that doable? I think having the budget drive the plan on some level is makes good sense, right? That's how we all live our lives. We have a budget, and we go buy a car within our budget. This really should be no different, although most municipalities don't operate that way. I want to operate that way. I want to know realistically what we can afford without having to go to the taxpayers and ask for a debt exclusion or ask for an override. Again, we never know what's going to happen, but I think that would make prudent sense to just say, okay, this is the budget based on today's factors, what we can afford.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Deb. Matt, what can we afford?
All right. So right now, between stabilization and overlay surplus, the town has $11 million available. We'll probably get another $2 or $3 million in free cash once that's certified in a week or two. And then we can pretty comfortably borrow $10 million. I think Deb seems to think there's like a possibility that the BP regional district thing is going to like the cost will skyrocket. So I think it's a good idea probably not to borrow more than 10 million, just to leave wiggle room there. But that still puts us like well over $20 million.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I don't want to go that high.
I was gonna
because
say, I'm not going that high for the record.
Yeah, no one does. So let's get that out of the way. Nobody wants to spend that kind of money, but it's good to know that it's the options there if something catastrophic happens down the road. But this also means there's other projects in town that's needed, so we're looking out for that as well. Right?
It literally took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say, there's too many other things that need to happen within this town, and I wanna give, both these groups, everything we possibly can, but I don't wanna take everything and, you know, throw away's a terrible term, but use every bit that we have available to us on this one building.
So the cost of town here, I'm seeing, so it's, might look at 15.4. All right, on option one. Am I making that up? I'm looking at the bottom line there.
13,782.
What, I might have.
I think there's a new one that I
Okay.
emailed you today.
Okay, in the packet.
Oh, all right, because I'm in the packet saying the
Okay.
same
Yeah,
thing.
The new one's a little bit lower. It's a 13 and change, the next one's 14.
All right, that makes more sense. I was getting a little confused earlier.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we gave it a little tweak.
Okay,
and,
yeah,
and
I
we
didn't
sent it
see
out
that
this
tweak
morning.
in my packet. Okay,
I definitely do.
all right. So that I was gonna, reason why I brought that up is I wasn't gonna go, I don't think our top number should be below that, right? So, but if that gives us a wiggle room at 15 million, so I'll entertain a motion here that this project shall not exceed 15 million.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right. Think we're good on this part of the agenda?
Yep.
Do you folks want to close your meetings?
So just before we call for adjournment, in case anyone asks, next meeting, we'll just have it as to be determined.
Correct. Yeah, Mark, if you could get with the architect and see what the next timeframe where we can start meeting as far as the next steps, next
We will.
phase.
We'll
And
do
then
that
I'll
first
take
thing
it
in
from
the
there.
morning. Yeah, I'll get that done first thing in the morning, have them get a schedule. Hopefully can get you a schedule of proposed dates by the end of this week. If not the end of this week, the very beginning of next week, no later than Monday or Tuesday next week. But I'm going to try to get it for you this week.
And does during the day still work for everybody? Like if that works out, so to give you a better option?
Yeah, okay, that's
Like we
fine.
did last time?
Yep, great.
Perfect.
And I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for having like thoughtful, like, you know, interesting debates without getting upset about anything. This is refreshing, and this is a very good constructive conversation, so.
We have a good group. We have a good group.
Thank you for supporting the project.
Thank you all.
It's 7:02 PM. If I could call for a motion for an adjournment of our committee.
I move we adjourn.
Who made a motion? Okay, Paul seconded here. Thank you.
You do need to roll call it because we're on Zoom.
I beg your pardon?
You have to roll call because we're on Zoom.
Okay, so roll call again.
Oh, Norman Landerville.
Wayne J.
Pat Demand.
Paul Lubin.
Brenda Mata.
Jeffrey Amaral.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think we're good, right? So we're going to, and more than welcome to stick around, but if you don't want to, we have a pretty big agenda coming up now. Thank you.
Good job, Wayne.
I'll just we're going to take a moment, let everyone clear out.
I was here, I don't know, we were all here 40 years ago, right, when we decided to try to build a COA and a police station with
Take it.
town
Take it.
funds, and
Maybe we'll win.
it was
Yeah.
a terrible decision.
I was here when they wanted.
Yeah, we got to try.
Didn't vote for the vote.
That was terrible, yes. We were all part of that. We're all part of that. We made a big mistake not to go with Old Colony at the beginning. We're gonna suffer for that. The cost of BP is going to be very, very high.
Yes, but I think that it's
Because they have more choices.
More choices, you know?
It's very busy work. I struggled to even get in and type this morning, but then it got turned out.
My husband decided to come home late,
They're going to have a meeting, so.
See you guys tomorrow.
And we can present this stuff to everybody. I think it's worth the risk.
All right. So, all right, so moving on to agenda item 5. So this discussion of vote whether approve open session minutes from 9/9/2025 and 9/24/2025. I'll entertain a motion to approve those open session minutes.
Motion made?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay, agenda item 6, discussion and vote whether to authorize Council on Aging Director with Council on Aging Board approval to utilize formula grant monies from fiscal year 2024 and 2025 for anything that supports Freetown seniors and/or the Council on Aging. This seems to make sense to me. Are you coming up?
Come on down.
Okay.
You just want to come up and say hello.
Sure.
Yeah, so is this just to kind of make it a little easier to utilize the monies?
It's exactly that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been having to come pretty much for any larger purchase that I wanted to add with the formula grant, or pay for out of the formula grant. I've been having to come back, so it just makes it a little bit easier for me to, especially the routine things. We spend, the formula grant on instructors and just different things around the center. It's very routine, so it's.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Luann and Deb made this recommendation that we just kind of loop it all in, so this can stop.
Yeah. All right, any questions or concerns with that? That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to authorize Council on Aging Director with Council on Aging Board approval, the right to utilize formula grant monies from fiscal year 2024 and 2025 for anything that supports Freetown seniors and/or Council on Aging.
A motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Agenda item 7, discussion of vote whether to approve the 2026 senior work-off list. I mean, any problems there?
Yeah, no.
No, they've been doing good. I've been seeing them everywhere, so good job for them.
Just something to mention, the program doubled in size this year. It's almost 20 people, it's 19. It went from 10 to 19. It's a lot of volunteers to manage, so I have put out emails to the town hall to try to think about things maybe some of the volunteers could do. We started thinking about more things at the senior center that they could possibly volunteer at. I met with Principal Ward at Freetown Elementary to see if maybe we could have some volunteers in the classrooms there to help with a variety of different, help the teachers in the classrooms, and he was very, very receptive. It seems like they were trying to partner with the town as well, so it was one of their action plans.
Awesome.
So it seems like it was a good situation. It's just a lot to manage.
I can imagine.
I do know that other towns with higher populations, higher older adult populations, have limited more than what we have. It's something that we may want to look into. We limit it at 30. Middleborough has like triple the population we do, and they limit it at 15 to 20.
Okay.
So it's something we may want to look at in the application. It's a tremendous amount of work to manage the volunteers. They can go up to 133 hours, and they need guidance on where to find those hours.
Right.
And,
So if we were to hypothetically down the road, if we were to limit it, would it be like on a first come, first served basis? Okay. That makes sense.
which is hard.
It's hard, but
It's hard. I think if it was up to 20, it would be.
Yeah, but
And I think we should do it based off of what we can theoretically look at and say, what can we do? Where we're not just having them there, just to have them there.
It gets
Right.
to that point sometimes.
Yeah, and I guess, so to your point, why you're reaching out, right? So if we say, well, now we're talking with Principal Ward, maybe it's the food pantry, maybe it's something, right, where we have all these different things and we say, okay, now we'll have this X amount of hours, it makes sense, budget the amount of people based on the need.
Correct. And I think if we were going to add places like the food pantry, if we were going to add, because there are very specific things on the application, I think it has to be within the town.
Oh, well, yeah.
We can't,
so-
yeah. And actually, there was even a question, when I brought up Principal Ward, there was a question that I couldn't do schools.
Yeah, I
because it
wasn't
was part
thinking
of a
about, 'cause
different
it's
budget,
an
but then it was
independent,
on the
yeah.
application, so I was a little confused.
Yeah, I wasn't, yeah, it's a
No,
valid
no, that's
bring up,
okay. It's a
yeah.
wonderful idea. I would love to be able to
Yeah.
have that option. It's just-
Sports fields, things like that, like
But, yeah, like, but
landscaping.
it's
Yes.
like how physical, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets tricky, right?
Where it gets very, very tricky. We have people with emotional disabilities, physical disabilities, and we can't discriminate.
Yeah.
It becomes very, very complicated.
Yeah, I
quickly.
can understand that.
And if we start getting, and this is, it's not a good problem, but it's a problem if we get to the point where we're having to limit the amount of people, we should probably come up with parameters for the following year, because I wouldn't want Rebecca to apply and get denied this year, and then apply and get denied again next year, especially if we're having to do some sort of lottery or something. So we should probably, if it gets to that point where we're reaching capacity, and we truly are, that we come up with some
I think-
parameters to try and
Yeah,
make
I
sure.
think we are right now, it sounds like. we are.
Well, she's saying
We
we're
go up
not,
to 30.
we were up to
We
30,
have
but we're
19,
really.
but that's double from last year.
Yeah.
So I'm just anticipating a situation that we are going to have trouble managing.
Okay. All right, that's very good, very helpful. All right, so, but I think we're good with this year's list? Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2026 senior work-off list from the agenda.
Motion made?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay, agenda item 8, is discussion and vote whether to approve the request to close the Council on Aging for the annual holiday party hosted by Senator Rodrick, Representative Fiola, and Representative Oliet. I have to pronounce- Yeah, I can't pronounce that one. And have a COA staff to work from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. that day at the VFW to assist with this event. Does it make sense? I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Anything you want to add there?
Just that they kind of came up with this date without me this year. It was it wasn't part of we usually do it on Thursdays, so it's not even an issue. And then they came up with a Friday, and it worked better for Lakeville and Berkeley. So I said, well, I'll ask you guys and see what you say.
Okay.
My team's okay. I've already talked to them about it. They're okay with working 10 to 2 that day. So.
Okay.
And yeah, do I have a day here?
It's Friday, December 12th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I didn't put it on there.
Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to close the Council on Aging for the holiday party on December 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, agenda item 9, discussion and vote whether to declare the Cook-Wright 60-inch gas restaurant range as surplus and whether to donate to the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post, the VFW 6643 in East Freetown. And I saw your note here, so we got a new one, right?
Yes, we've had a new one since we started the Tuesday lunch program, so pretty much since early 2024. This stove that we're talking about went to the fire station after us, and I don't know what happened with them and this stove. I can tell you all about my experience with the stove.
There's no automatic start on this particular stove, so you have to bend down low to get at it. So the new stove has an automatic start on it.
Okay.
So that's better for the people that are using it. Fire station didn't need it. It's just kind of stored at Fire Station 2. Deb suggested to see if the VFW could utilize it, and Bruce Wilbur said that they would like to have it.
All right, perfect. As long as someone's, that's where it's perfect.
Good that someone's using it, it's not just sitting still, collecting dust.
Okay,
This,
so sorry, Debbie, you're good?
yeah, this is a commercial stove, and when we went to put it in the fire station, we were gonna have to put this incredible Ansel system that was really expensive, which the COA has, but it didn't make sense to put it in the fire station, so we just decided to not utilize it in the fire station. It's a brand-new stove, and the VFW is all set up, and they're such a good partner to the town. They let us use their space frequently. We have our Christmas parties. They let the Bob Klevecker, the veterans agent, use their space often to meet with veterans, so it's a win-win for them and for us.
Perfect. Thanks, Deb. Appreciate the background on that. Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to declare the Cook-Wright 60-inch gas restaurant range a surplus and to donate it to the VFW in East Freetown.
A motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay. Moving on to agenda item 10. I think you're all set. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Rebecca.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure as always.
Okay, so agenda item 10, discussion of vote whether increase the winter 2025 and 2026 plow rates by $5 an hour. And Chuck provided, or we have, Land provided the rates in the packet here. So the 8-foot plow was at 105, 9-foot plow at 111, and the 10-foot plus was at 130. And a loader with 3 icy bucket, I don't know, 3
cubic
CY?
yard.
Wow.
Cubic yard.
Cubic yards.
Can't read, sorry guys. It's $150 an hour. So all of these will just go up by $5 an hour, right? No,
Yeah.
yep, that is it. And obviously this is just to try to not have the crisis we have every year where we can't find enough drivers.
Right.
I think Lola could confirm, did you send the applications out like 2 weeks ago, right? And we have nothing back?
Yeah.
Not a one?
Yeah, that's happens.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Well,
I was gonna say the $5 helps, but it's still not, it's not gonna make a lineup of people. It's really just to do with the insurance, the amount of people who are actually plowing, the amount of snow that's falling on the ground and people not wanting, I mean, it's all things we've already talked about, but I mean, the $5 an hour is very much in line with, you know, not being crazy, so.
Yep. Okay, so with that though, do what we can. So I'll entertain a motion to increase the winter 2025, 2026 snowplow rates by $5 an hour.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. All right, agenda item 11, discussion of vote whether to approve the road opening permit for water service at 118 South Main Street in Assonet. So, per the chief, they're going to also need a road, well, sorry, 2 things. They're gonna need 2 police there on site to close the road details. And they also need a, what's the other one called?
Trench permit
Trench
approved by the
permit.
building commissioner.
Okay. So we can approve the road opening permit just pending those 2 things, right?
Correct.
All right, and these folks, they lost water,
Yeah, their whole well.
the well failed, so they're, luckily where they are, they can easily connect into, but these are the things we gotta do, so. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the road opening permit for water service at 118 South Main Street in Assonet, with, as long as they get the trench permit and follow the chief's rules of having 2 details.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes, you can clean that up, that was a terrible motion. Okay, agenda item 12, discussion and vote whether to authorize town administrator to approve and sign the agreement between the town of Freetown and McClure Engineering and Professional Services for the South Main Street Bridge Preservation Project.
Yeah. There's another one that's coming up.
Okay. Any questions or concerns on this?
No, everything seems like it's in line.
All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to authorize town administrator to approve and sign the agreements between the town of Freetown and McClure Engineering for the professional services for South Main Street Bridge Preservation
A motion made?
Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Agenda item 13, discussion and vote on awarding the milling and paving overlay of Leslie Lane and various streets project. And it looks like this, the low bid,
T. Miozzi?
Miozzi?
Mm-hmm.
Miozzi. And they came in at what,
315, 610.
$315,000.
$610.
$610, which is significantly
Yeah.
lower than everybody else.
I
We got
know.
a good amount of bids here, too.
Yeah, and I spoke with Chuck and asked him, and he said that we've done business with this company in the past. It's been a few years, but had nothing but good things to say about them. So they were currently in Berkeley working, and then they were coming right over to Freetown.
Perfect. Yeah, and they have all the insurance, everything they need, right?
Yeah.
All right, great. So that will entertain a motion to award the milling and paving overlay of Leslie Lane and various street projects to T. Mazzoli, LLC.
It's a good Italian name right there.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to award that?
Motion made.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. I only have to say this company one more time. And then agenda item 14 is discussion and vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and T. Miozzi LLC for the milling and paving overlay of Leslie Lane, various streets. So it's just to approve the agreement. Entertain a motion to approve the agreement.
A motion made?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Agenda item 15, discussion and vote whether to approve and ratify the signature for the service invoice for emergency repairs of fire engine 3 in the sum of $9,128.11. And this is to, what's that company? It's always a funny company.
Bulldog?
Bulldog. It was like a bad sensor of some sort.
Coolant leak?
Oh, I thought maybe I read something
There's a lot
else.
of things on the list here. They defined where the coolant was coming from.
Oh, yeah, I just read one of them. Okay. There's a whole bunch of them. All right, well, we gotta keep our fire truck on the road, so I don't think we have much of an option here. Any questions or concerns?
No.
All right, and I'm sure the fix has already been made, so it doesn't really matter. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve and ratify the signature for the service invoice for emergency repair of fire engine 3 in the sum of $9,128.11.
Motion made?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Agenda item 16, discussion and vote whether to approve the letter of agreement for professional engineering services for MS4 general permit assistance for fiscal year 2026 between the town of Freetown and Apex Companies LLC. Here you go. And this is something we do every year, isn't it?
We
Yeah,
have a
we're,
10-year permit. This is year 8 of the 10.
That's crazy. How long have I been around
Stormwater
for?
management permit that we're required to have.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like, yeah, I guess I've been around for a while now. Okay, because I remember when this was not your.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or concerns?
Nope.
no.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the letter of agreement for professional services for the MS4 general permit assistance for fiscal year 2026 between the town of Freetown and Apex Companies LLC.
Motion made?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go ahead.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Sorry. Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes.
Trying to pull up the map for the next one.
Appreciate it.
All right. Agenda item 17, discussion and vote whether the town would prefer to sell or retain for its purposes a property foreclosed upon for real estate taxes located on Chase Road, parcel 240-16. And it looks like conservation would like this property. That's the latest and greatest information?
That is.
Correct.
That's great.
So the vote here, Deb, is just retain it for conservation? Or how do we do this?
Just retain it for our own purposes, and then we'll figure out from there if we want to actually transfer it over to conservation, or what we want to do with it once we have it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, why, at this point, if we have it, what would be the benefit of us putting it into conservation? We might as well hold on to it for now if we decide we're going to keep it, and just keep it as general land that's under the town's guidance.
Right. I mean, we may come back and say, hey, you should put this under the covenant of conservation land. But for right now, the vote would be that we're gonna retain it and not sell it for town purposes, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, yeah, there might be some kind of like liability, like, what happens if someone gets, yeah, I don't know. Okay, perfect, that makes sense. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to retain the Chase Road property, Chase Road parcel 24016, for the town's use.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay, agenda item 18. So this is discussion and vote whether to send a letter of support requested by State Representative Chris Markey for support of Bill H 999, an act establishing a deer population control commission. So this one's interesting.
It's a great proposal.
Yeah?
It's, as a hunter, we have a lot of deer. And this proposal, it helps with the population and everything else. I know some people don't care for that kind of thing. That's okay. That's their opinion. However, there is a need. It is a safety thing as well as feeding, not just feeding families, but, when we have too many in one thing, it gets a little dangerous.
I saw 13 deer on Narrows Road the other day. In one, like, I stopped my car and I counted 13 deer. It's crazy.
I have a couple.
So, my questions, also Hunter, how do they plan, because I couldn't find anything about how they plan on downsizing population. Is it going to be through added permits to hunters?
So the way.
Is that what he's trying to?
Correct. So extending the timeframe as well as extending permits to hunters so that they can better cull the population of deers in different parts of Massachusetts.
And it'll be thought out over time. It's not going to be a 1 year.
Correct. Well, looking at this proposal, it looks like it's a long-term thing. It's something they want to stay on, see what's the population trends, and then just go from there. But it looks like it's probably a long-term program.
Yeah.
Because we do have quite a bit of them out there. I have a couple of beautiful ones in the backyard every single day.
No, and as long as it's something like that, I'm
Yeah.
obviously for it, but it's just making sure that it's done in a reasonable.
No, I agree, and it's something that hunters do want. I have had a chance to go into the gun clubs and everything else and ask the hunters about this, and they're like, this is a great idea. One, extends their season in a sense, but also gives you more opportunities to fill your tag once you do get it, which is nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was going to allow people more dole permits, more, I didn't know. So that's what I was really trying to grasp on it. And I really wasn't seeing anything too concrete in what I was reading, so it's hard one to ask.
I looked at it as those extra chances of filling your freezer.
All right, sounds good. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to send a letter of support to Senator Representative Christopher Markey for support of Bill H 999.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes.
Is the draft letter in the packet that was provided okay, or do you want it changed?
The draft letter?
There was a draft letter to send of support.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine, yeah. Okay. Thank you. So now I'll kick it over to personnel.
All right, that is me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, number 19, Personnel Board. Rescind the appointment of Trevor Matthews as Regional School Negotiating Committee, Board of Selectmen, Representative effective 9/9/2025. I so say, and you have been rescinded, Selectman Matthews. Item agenda 20, discussion, vote, and whether to approve the following appointments. A, Nicole Kelleher as Library Director, Building Committee representing Library Council on Aging, Library Community Building Committee, Library Representative, Public Records Clerk, and Library effective 10/14/2025 through 6/30/2026. Nicole has been thoroughly interviewed by both the library trustees as well as us, and she is a fantastic candidate for this position.
Very excited.
Yeah, so are we. And then B, we also have Toby Christian to Conservation Commission, 9/22/2025 through 6/30/2026. All right. If there are no comments, questions, or objections, I will make the motion to appoint the individuals identified as 20A and 20B of this agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes.
And lastly, for personnel, item agenda 21, discussion and vote whether based on prior experience to provide more vacation time for newly appointed library director. So a question came up a year or 2 years ago regarding other department heads that we had and the way our bylaws are written in town. Well, we since semi-amended those bylaws to allow a provision of 15 days, right? 15 days meaning 15 working days, which is 3 weeks vacation, which is a change from what it used to be. We did this based on the feedback from other department heads and other employees to make sure that we are able to select and attract the talent here to Freetown. Because let's face it, we're all competing against the same pool of candidates for different towns and municipalities. By having this as an additional option, we're able to not only hire, but also attract new candidates for different positions we have here in town, especially at the department head. So, do we need to vote? I think, yeah. Any questions, concerns on that? That's, it's one of those things that.
No, I mean, the stuff was changed for a reason, because it's a need. It's the way that candidates are looking now more than just, a lot of people don't look at just pay. They look at the overall package, so we had to change it to be competitive, and I'm okay with it, because, I mean, it's what it is. It stinks, for some people, but it's great. I think I'm happy that we were able to make the changes for going forward.
Absolutely. And the beautiful thing about it is, it was feedback provided by the bylaw employees that came to us at different meetings and discussion to say, hey, this is what we can do to not increase budgets, but also attract people. So it's a win-win. I'm glad it's here.
Yeah, me too. And she has experience, right? So
Yes.
that we can look at it too, because we've done different things with different people. We did it with a police officer one time, right, where we made some changes based on his experience with other towns and stuff. So it's, yeah.
All right. I entertain a motion to, let's see how we discuss this. I'll make the motion to make that amendment for the newly appointed library director based on prior work experience.
To go to 3 weeks?
To 3 weeks, correct, up to 15 days, vacation days.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna sign and then adjourn.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, jeez, it's just made a big mess. Just me?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not a hunter personally, but therefore, I'm not one to speak on this topic. And I do like deer meat, so.
There you go.
It's funny, my wife is, we're looking at our freezer, we had a power outage not too long ago, and our freezer's been, a little chest freezer. And I saw a Home Depot ad from Maine that said, 1 deer, 2 deer, 3 deer, and it was the size of the freezers.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to go for the stand-up 3 deer. It so happened I was reading the thing from the Senator Marquis, and I'm going, this is meant to be.
That's hilarious.
So this way, everybody? Yeah.
Yosi.
Easy, I think. See, shaking the hand like my grandpa.
All right.
We're good.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes, thank you.